I think we get this notion that in love, and even in not even just love, but in actual relationships, and even platonic relationships or any type of relationship, is that we have some sort of responsibility to try and change people in the way we see fit of them, right? But I think this is more commonly in the realm of relationships. And it's like a lot of people, including me myself, have been in that, like, I've been in that period, or that state where you try to change your partner because you feel like you you guys aren't on the same ground, or you guys aren't on the same thing or on the same page. And I think change is a wonderful thing, and I'm not saying not to try and encourage change within your partner, but to expect change from your significant other and to try and get them to match up to your expectations is a selfish thing to do. I think that in doing so, we fail to realize how hard it even is to change. And I think before we even try to change a person, before we even try to apply that change into our partners within our relationship, we have to acknowledge how hard it is to even change ourselves. And in a way, like, if you're trying to change someone to the way you see them fit, if you are considering yourself an anxiously attached person, and this avoidant attachment person you're in a relationship with just won't talk to you as much as you'd like to talk them to talk to you, or just you expect them to talk to you more or open up to you more, when in reality they're just the way they are because they're just the way they are. And I think it's a pretty selfish thing to ask for someone to change like that, just like that. And I think, yes, to a certain degree, you should expect them to change, barring some exceptions, like I said before. I think there should be a grounds as to where it is appropriate to change. When there is a miscommunication now happening, when there is a when you guys are hurting one another because you guys just won't change. I think love is to change for one another, but love shouldn't be to expect change within the person. I think it's voluntary. I think change in a way is essential in a relationship. Yes. But you can't expect it out of someone, and it can't be an obligation. Just as the same as it can't be an obligation to love someone, it should be voluntary. I think love works well when both people are willing to change for one another. And if even one person isn't willing to, then that love is ruined and it's one-sided, which is really sad. That's what makes love so special, is because it's so risky, and it's so you pay a gamble to see whether this person is really the right one for you, or willing to change for you, right? To match your needs, to match how you see love. And in a way, you should be expecting to change for the other person as well. But you shouldn't expect them to. Just because you think, like, yes, again, it's essential to change in love, but I think it's more essential to change yourself, or to fix, or not to necessarily fix, but to work on yourself, to work on the things that you lack, more than you trying to fix the other person or expect them to change. Because at the end of the day, they're their own person, and it's their responsibility to change for themselves, the same way you are responsible for changing your ways and changing for the better. And then, like, it's just, I see a lot of people, especially like within me, I saw it in myself, where I would get into relationships and I would be, of course, immature and not ready to be in a relationship, but I wouldn't know that. And I would expect the other person to change. I would expect this girl to change for me, to change her whole entire personality, to change her actions, just because I thought that was like what was best to accommodate me, or to, that was the best, like, thing to do. Or forcing someone to open up to you just because you think it's a good change doesn't mean that they should do it. Doesn't mean that they're obligated to change for you. I mean, yeah, change in the relationship again is a good thing, it's an important thing, but it's not an obligation, but more of a voluntary action, right? Because then love now turns not just as a voluntary act, which is in its purest form. Love just turns into a responsibility, and then you're just a responsibility to the other person. And I don't think any of us would like that. Okay, I don't think like you'd want your partner to look at you and be like, ah, they're just a chore. I just have to wake up and text them and this and that because they told me to. No, you have to be willing to change for the other person. They have to be willing to change for you. They have to be willing to actually accommodate your needs and what you think like would like make you feel loved. And if they're really, I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dad yelling in the background. Jesus, it's really loud. But again, on our topic, right? Let me just close my door. Holy. Lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. To change is an important thing in a relationship, but it's never obligation to change. Because in having an obligation to change within the relationship turns the relationship from a voluntary action or a voluntary commitment to a responsibility. There we go. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to get across here. And yeah, I guess that's all I kind of have to say. Is just don't expect change from the other person. Change for yourself, and realize that change is voluntary. Change is up to the other person, because at the end of the day, they're their own person and you're your own person. If you guys aren't willing to change, then you guys aren't willing to change.